successful garden, even if you've never planted a seed in your life. So today we're going to plant hyacinth beans, but first let's take a look at our smart pots from before. We've got some vegetables to harvest. So this is the lettuce that we planted 7 weeks ago, and we've harvested part of it once, but it is way ready to be harvested again. We had a ton of rain this week. My gauge said 4 inches, so everything's growing like crazy. So we're going to harvest all of this lettuce using the cut and come again method. So I'm harvesting above the growing tip. That's maybe 2 inches above the soil. If you look where the leaves are coming out of the base of the plant, cut above that so that it will continue to send out more leaves. If you keep cutting it, it will keep growing and the leaves will stay smaller, and it will help prevent it from going to seed or bolting. It will do that eventually no matter what, but we'll get a longer harvest season of more tender, sweeter lettuce if we do keep cutting it every 2 or 3 weeks. And I let it go too far, so it's really big now. So we're going to cut all of this lettuce. Make a huge salad tonight. And we've got a few onions that we will harvest sometime for more green onions. And then we've got some greens in other pots too. Oops, I just snipped that green onion. Alright, so we've got the lettuce harvested now. It looks a little bit draggled, but it'll come right back. And lots of lettuce. Alright, now let's take a look at the arugula. So here's the arugula. It's ready to harvest too. We're going to do the exact same thing. Cut it above the growing tip. There's actually some radishes in there too. We'll cut it above the growing tip, and that way it'll grow back. There's some radishes. We'll go ahead and harvest those. Beautiful. So I'm going to cut all the arugula because I want a fresh start, some new leaves. Alright, so I'll put this aside for now. Rinse that off later. And let's see, we've got a few more radishes that are ready to harvest. So on radishes, there's basically just a few days or maybe a week window for harvesting them at their prime. After that, they start to get woody or pithy and not as sweet. So radishes need lots of water, lots of sun in order to grow quickly, and that's how you get the best quality. If they get less sun and not enough water, they will grow, but more slowly. By the time they size up, they will have gotten bitter. Alright, so there's some radishes for our salad. We'll take a look at these other smart pots. Our little peppers are coming along nicely, and the head lettuce. Here's our tomato, which is growing like gangbusters. We're going to go ahead and cage it today. So I've got this cage that we've made out of remesh, and I'm going to just slide it right over the plant and the smart pot. And I've put a post in right here in the ground to help stabilize it a little bit more. So we're just going to slide this on. And that will give our tomato support while it grows. This is a sun gold tomato, an indeterminate tomato. That means it'll grow all summer long and produce tomatoes all summer long. Determinate tomatoes will produce a big crop and then die back. Because it's an indeterminate, it tends to be more viney. It's going to get bigger and it needs a lot of support. Otherwise it'll just sprawl all over everything. So caging is a great way to do that. It doesn't take a lot of maintenance during the growing season. Just keep pushing the tomato back inside as the arms come out and let it just grow up and around inside the cage. You can see we've already got some little flowers. Tomatoes coming soon. Now we're going to plant some hyacinth beans. So hyacinth beans are a beautiful vine. The raw beans are toxic. If you decide to cook them, make sure you know how to cook them before you eat them. The vine is absolutely stunning in the landscape. So it needs a trellis, and we're going to plant it on either side of our Armenian cucumber that we planted last week. That looks great. So I've started these hyacinth bean seeds in peat pots, and we'll just plant the whole thing. Beans don't like having their roots disturbed, so this will make it a little easier on them. You can also start them from seed. And here I have some hyacinth bean seed that I saved from last year. It's very easy to save the seed on these. The seed's kind of expensive to buy, but if you save it yourself, it's free. And they're these distinctive, very pretty little seeds with that white line on them. So we're gonna plant these, one hyacinth on each side of the cucumber. In general, beans like a fertile soil, so we're gonna give them lots of compost. Put a couple handfuls in there. We'll work it in a little bit. And then I'm going to plant peat pot and all in the ground. Now with peat pots, make sure you cover the pot and you don't have the edge sticking up where it will wick moisture up and dry out. And then we'll do one on the other side. Hyacinth bean will bloom all summer long. It's very heat and drought tolerant. It's a great vine for Oklahoma. It has these beautiful pink-purple flowers on it that then turn into a kind of a magenta seed pod that's quite striking in its own right. That seed pod will eventually dry later in the summer or early fall, and that's what you harvest for the seeds. All right, there's our hyacinth beans tucked in. Now we'll put some straw around them. Because we've had so much rain this week, the soil is very wet, and we're supposed to be getting more soon, so I'm not going to even water them in. We have plenty of moisture in the soil right now, and the peat pots were quite moist when I planted them. So they'll grow up, we'll train them to grow up this trellis, and the whole thing will be covered in cucumbers and hyacinth bean flowers during the summer. Next week, we're going to plant yard-long beans. Hope to see you then. Happy gardening.